You didn't win that negotiation. You were never supposed to. That's not an accident. That's the plan. By the end of this, you'll understand why the dealership still exists in a world where you can order almost anything else with one tap, and why the room you walk into after you agree on a price is the one that actually decides how much you pay. Most people think the fight is the price. You go in braced for it, the back and forth, the let me talk to my manager, the number written down and crossed out like it means something. You leave thinking you won or lost based on how many $1,000s moved on that sticker. Here's the part almost nobody clocks. The sticker price was never where the real money was. New car sales are famously thin for the dealer. The markup on the vehicle itself is often razor thin, sometimes barely enough to cover the lot. If the dealership only made money selling cars at that price, most of them would be out of business. They're not selling you a car, they're selling you into a room. That room is called finance and insurance, F&I in the industry, and it's where the real profit lives. The interest rate you get approved for by the bank is rarely the rate you're offered. Dealers mark it up and keep the difference. A rate that's 1 or 2 points higher than what you actually qualified for stretched across 5 or 6 years of payments adds up to real money, quietly, invisibly, buried inside a number you already agreed to. Then there's your trade-in. The dealer lowballs what your old car is worth, then turns around and either sells it at auction or puts it right back on the lot for thousands more than they gave you. You feel like you got something for your old car, they know exactly what it's actually worth. And once you're sitting in that finance office, signed and committed, that's when the add-ons appear. Extended warranties, paint protection, fabric protection, VIN etching, products with enormous margins pitched to you at the exact moment you're least equipped to say no, because you already feel done. There's one more layer most buyers never see at all. Manufacturers pay dealers money back per car sold, behind the scenes regardless of what you paid. So even the invoice price you researched online, the number you thought was the dealer's true cost, it isn't. There's another number underneath it that you were never shown. Why does this system still exist when almost every other industry sells you direct? This is the part that surprises people. In most states, manufacturers are legally blocked from selling cars straight to consumers. It's not tradition holding this in place, it's law. Franchise protection laws, decades old, that require new cars to be sold through independent dealers will what? Which is exactly why newer companies that wanted to sell directly to the public have had to fight state by state, just for the right to do it. The dealership isn't a leftover inefficiency waiting to be disrupted, it's a protected structure, built into the legal system itself. So why does it work on you, specifically, every single time? The sticker price does something to your brain before you even open your mouth to negotiate. It sets an anchor. A starting number so high that any reduction feels like a victory, even if the final price is still deeply profitable for them. You're not measuring against what's fair. You're measuring against the number they chose to show you first. Then there's simple exhaustion. By the time you've spent 2 hours negotiating, you're not sharp anymore, you're tired, you're emotionally invested, and you just want it to be over. That's precisely the state a good finance manager is trained to meet you in, and once you've spent that much time and energy winning the price fight, walking away over the financing paperwork feels like giving up a victory you already earned. So you sign, not because the terms are good, because you've already decided somewhere in the last 2 hours that you're a person who wins this. The last trick is where you point your guard. You spend the entire negotiation treating the salesperson like the adversary. By the time you reach the finance office, your guard is down, because that part gets framed as paperwork, formality. The boring part. It's not boring, it's the part built to make the most money off you precisely because you stopped watching. So who actually profits here? The dealership through financing spreads, trade-in margins, and add-on sales that dwarf the profit on the car itself. The manufacturer through incentives and holdbacks paid quietly per vehicle sold, and an entire legal structure that protects this arrangement from being disrupted the way almost every other retail industry already has been. Who pays? You do. In a rate slightly higher than you qualified for, a trade-in worth less than it should be, and add-ons you didn't need sold to you at the exact moment you were most tired and most committed. Multiply that by the number of people financing a car this year, and you start to see this isn't a few bad salespeople. It's a business model that depends on you feeling like you already won before the real transaction even starts. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't really a story about pushy salespeople or bad customer experiences. It's a story about a system engineered and legally protected to extract the most value at the exact moment a buyer is least equipped to notice it happening. The car business figured out decades ago that the sale isn't where the money is, the financing is. And they built an entire legal and psychological structure around getting you there. You didn't lose the negotiation on the car. You lost it in the room they walked you into after.